What is going on, everyone? We are here for week 8 of the Fanatec GT3 Challenge series. This week's track guide will be at Road Atlanta in the Mercedes AMG GT3. So obviously we did 4 weeks of the Porsche first, then we've stepped into Mercedes. This is week 4 of the Mercedes. So we need to know, guys, what you would like to see for the last 4 weeks. Do you want to see the BMW? Do you want to see the Lamborghini? So let us know in the comments. We're up for any of the GT3 cars that we haven't touched yet. Really appreciate the feedback so that we're giving you guys in the community what you would like to see. So apart from that, it's going to be a bit of a unique circuit this week. Lots of sort of that first sector, the twisties up and down, up the hill and then down through the hill with the chicane style layout will be a bit of a challenge in these cars, just with the front end being a bit heavy, a little bit of prone to understeer, and then obviously making sure that you really maximize your exit out onto the back straight and get that really good long run shoot down into the final S chicane and up over the crest. So looking forward to bringing you this one, so let's go, guys. Alright guys, so now we're going to break down the lap. So as you're coming down into turn 1, you want to be as far to the left hand side as possible, and you're looking for the end of the outside pit wall. So this track is quite unique, there's 2 pit lanes, but obviously we don't use the one on the left hand side very often. But so I use the start of the bitumen, end of the grass, end of the wall, just to sort of reference myself as a point. 5th gear, back to 3rd on entry here. So as you come in, and I sort of diagonal the car. Sounds really weird, but when you actually see it happen in person, you kind of understand why. Because the road sort of looks like this, but then it starts to drop into the corner. So you want to make sure that you get the car right down into that little camber groove, right up against the curb. From this point here, so you start to travel down. I'm in line with the motel sign for a little bit there. And then I want to make sure I'm at the curb as we get to the Marshall hut on the corner here. So as we get to the Marshall hut, see how it's continued to kind of drift across the track. I want to get the car right down into this little bit of camber curve here. I want to clip the curb halfway through. So right at this big yellow square right in the middle here. So from this point here, I pick the throttle up. The car is going to slide wide on the exit, so you're going to slide to about this point here. I kind of see the little crack in the road, I kind of use that as a bit of a marker, weirdly. Obviously, it's a little bit hard to see when you're right up behind somebody or you're racing, but I just kind of use it as that little reference point to, like, oh, glance down and go, oh yeah, I'm in that crevice, cool, I don't want to go any wider than that sort of thing. So then as I'm coming up the hill, this one's the tricky part, because it's trying to get it right. So back to 4th gear, and then I get 2 tyres on the curb. I aim for the little V in the trees directly in front, and then I go downshift back to 3rd gear. I start to come off the curb as I'm in line with the white line across the track. I sort of still follow that V across, and And you'll see if you line it up with the V, you'll get nice and close to that apex. And then what I want to do is I want to clip 2 tyres over the curb, aim for the last cone. The car's going to slide. You're going to use all the track, run it right close, get it nice and close to the left-hand side curb. You want to wrap the car the whole way down here. Up to 4th. Now, this is the tricky bit. So as you come to the start of the curb on the left, you want to lift the throttle when you get to the end of it. So you want to make sure you're on the left-hand side as close to the curb as possible. I lift off the throttle at the end of the curb. Now, the only reason I do that is to get the nose of the car to rotate in towards the corner. I found with this set, it's a little bit more better for rotation off throttle than on throttle. So lift off the throttle, the car's going to start to rotate in. Soon as the car gets to like this point here where it started to rotate, pick the throttle up. From that point there, you'll be able to run it right over the curb. Let the car track down, sort of diagonal the car across, use a bit of curb here, and then set yourself up here. So you want to use the tyre up on the curb, back to 3rd gear. See how the curb starts to wrap back around? That's where I let the car come off the curb. And I turn the car in at the corner from that point there. I use 2 tyres over the curb. Once I pass the flag marshal hut, the car's going to start to rotate past, run out over the back of the curb here. I use all of this, extra bit of track. I get back on the circuit before the end of it. And then I start to run down to the next set of corners. Now, this one's a bit tricky, just from the angle that the car rotates in. So, 100 meter board, 200 meter board, sorry, white line. There's about 3 or 4 markers here, which is really cool. So you've either got your 200 meter sign, you got the white line across the track. The other little one that's a little bit further, it's like 189, 190-ish. It's the start of the bitumen parking bay on the inside of the circuit on the right hand side. You can sort of push the car a little bit past the limit and start braking it like this point here. So then from that point there, I follow the crack in the line to get as close to the edge of the road as possible. And then I start to turn the car in once I get to this tyre wall just up here. So the bundle of tyres and the white line across the track. So that's where I turn the car at the corner. I rotate the car in. 3rd gear, 2nd gear, doesn't really matter. I find I like 2nd for a little bit extra rotation, and then I go to 3rd out of the corner. So that's my personal preference. So from this point here, you want to clip the curb and then let the car slide right out to the edge of the road. Now this one's a real tricky one because there's no brake marker for this. So I'm braking about 4 blue squares from the end. I get the car as close to the curb as possible, and then I want to turn the car in once I get to the end of the curb on the left-hand side up here. So right close to the wall. As soon as I get to that last square, you'll also see the colour in the line changes from yellow to white. That's another good reference point there. Obviously, these are very small little markers on the edge of the track that if somebody's in front of you, you're not going to see it until you're on top of it. So they're the sort of reference points I'm using. And then once I turn the car in at the corner, I want to clip the apex on the inside, but I want to get it right at the end. So at this point here. So from this point here, I'll be able to pick up the throttle, let the car track out right to the edge of the road, use all the curb, and then carry it down the long back straight. I sort of track towards the right-hand side quite early. And then I stay 5th here. You can pull 6th, but I just kind of find hitting the limiter in 5th works. Definitely on a quali run. I think if you're in traffic, you will have to use 6th gear because the draft will actually obviously give you a lot more speed. 100 meter board for here. Back to 2nd gear. Want to rotate the car in at the end of the curb on the right. So back to 2nd. End of the curb right here. Turn the car in at the corner. 2 wheels over the curb. And sacrifice a little bit of mid-corner so you can focus on the exit here. Because the exit's super important to make sure you get a good run up over the crest. Down into the final corner. So turn in late here, clip the curb right at the end, pick the throttle up, let the car run right to the edge of the road. Nice and close to that little white line there. Let the car track down. You want to clip the edge of the road right by the end of the curb, and then start to turn the car at the corner. And then from that point there, you'll be able to, it's a slight lift, but you'll be able to nearly carry it flat through here. Clip the curb right at the end and then run it past the line. And there you go, guys. That is your walkthrough lap of Road Atlanta in the Mercedes AMG GT3 for the Fanatec GT Challenge Series. I hope this, guys, has helped you a lot. Good luck for Week 8's racing, and we will see you for Week 9 in a new car. See you then.